Pete Richter, the old retired cop, coming to you up here at Liberty Works Radio Network. Phone number 410-848-9191. And a lot going on, a lot to talk about. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And God bless America, and God bless them Egyptian people that are standing up against that dictator. Unbelievable what's going on over there in Egypt. But I tell you, the first thing came to my mind was, we give the Egyptian government $2.5 billion a year. And we don't know that, or not me, but I'm talking about the people in charge, the people giving this money away, our politicians, our leaders. They didn't know how bad this Mubarak was? They didn't know. Big secret, huh? Baloney. But anyway, I give them people over there credit, and it just proves one thing. The guy at the top abuses the guy at the bottom. Till the guy at the bottom can't take it no more, then he revolts. He either kills the guy at the top, or they have revolution and they take it back. And that's what's happening over there in Egypt. These people are fed up with the way this guy's government runs. The police stop you on the street like Nazi Germany. Papers, please. Going about your daily business. Papers, please. Military tortures people. Their police torture people. Well, we got the same thing here. Last week I talked about a retired Chicago policeman that was sentenced to 4.5 years in jail for torturing confessions out of people. You got to take control of your country. The people have to be in charge, and you can't let the guy at the top circumvent the law. And I guarantee you that's what happened over there in Egypt, and it's happening in this country too. And last week we got a call from a guy named Cliff, and he brought up whistleblowers. I was talking about how the good cops, and there's a lot more good cops than bad ones, but we're going to talk about that other side of that badge too. But there's always more good guys than bad guys. But the good guys got to stand up and be counted. And the first step to any change is to talk about it. And like Cliff said, the whistleblower always holds the short end of the stick. He holds the short end of the stick. The government's got laws to protect the whistleblowers, and the whistleblower always holds the short end of the stick. What's wrong with that picture? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you about a good police. I got an article here. Border Patrol agent fired for views on drug legalization. He files a lawsuit. The ACLU's behind him. But a border agent named Brian Gonzalez was fired for expressing his views on drug legalization to a fellow agent. He's not on television, he's not on the radio, he's talking to a fellow agent. And he tells the agent, the problem with the drugs being illegal is all the violence along the border and the corruption and everything else. So they fired him. His buddy that he's talking to rats him out, and the department gets involved with it, and the guy that ratted him out, his name's Montoya. And one thing leads to another, and they fire Gonzalez. Well, Gonzalez was still on probation. He only had, I think they're on 2 years probation down there, but during a probationary period, most of these departments can fire you for anything they want. Anything they want. And this Gonzalez was like 2 months before his probation was up. All his evaluations were straight A. 100% good guy. So they fired him for speaking the truth. And this is what the police are afraid of. These cops out here got wives, families, house payments, car payments, sending kids to college. And they know if they open their mouth that they're going to get the short end of the stick, especially against these policies that are un-American. Anybody with any sense, especially the drug dealers themselves, you ask them, how you stop this drug problem, legalize it. And the people that are opponents will say, oh, if you use drugs, everybody will be, if they legalize drugs, everybody will be using it. Will they? Here's the answer to that. Anybody that wants to use drugs is already using it. This is nothing. Everybody knows this. You want drugs? Go to school. You get all the drugs you want in school. It's not like being illegal stops the drug trade. I guarantee you, I'll bet anybody anything they want to bet, that anybody that wants to use drugs knows where to go and knows how to get it. That there's drugs in just about every school in the United States. 6,000 metric tons of dope come across that Mexican border every year, and nobody knows it. Nobody knows it, huh? Baloney. Just like in Egypt, nobody in our United States government knew what this Mubarak over there is doing to these people. Well, now they're in the streets and they're rioting. And last week, I think it was last week, I talked about the riots in Baltimore City, and we were locking up looters that didn't even know who Martin Luther King was. They were just looting because it's easy time to go ahead and loot and rob, and that's what's going on over in Egypt now. I'm watching the news, and there's the neighborhoods banded together, standing out there with machetes and pipes to protect themselves from the bad guys who are, see this opportunity, and the police have all put their tails between their legs and they're running away because they treated the Egyptian people so bad. They know now what's going to happen if they get out in the street. Then people are going to beat what out of them. The military, they don't know what to do, and that Egypt is going to go through some hard times. They're going to go through some real hard times over there, but in the end, if they get democracy, it'll be worth it. But anyway, there's always some good stories, too. Here's one. Now that I'm into the internet a little bit, I get people send to me these articles, and, you push the button and watch the news right on your computer. Well, anyway, in Denard, California, a boy, about 11 years old, named Cody Alessa, rides his bicycle to school. I did that when I was a kid, too. We walked to school. Sometimes we take our bicycles and go to school. This kid's about 11 years old, and he gets on his bicycle every day, and he goes to school. And he's got an American flag on the back of his bike. So when he's riding to school, that old glory's waving around with the breeze. Well, lo and behold, the school says, you can't be on our property with an American flag. Well, when I was a kid, we said to pledge allegiance to the American flag. It was in the classroom. So now this kid can't come to school with an American flag on the back of his bicycle. Well, a motorcycle gang decided that ain't the right thing to do. And this motorcycle gang are veterans that belong to the American Legion Riders out in California. So they got their Harleys, and they got their colors on. These motorcycle guys look bad. Well, about 100 of them showed up, and they followed Cody to school. And the school changed their rules. Now Cody can come to school with an American flag on his bicycle. And that's what we got to start doing out there, friends, is standing up to this ridiculous stuff that's going on in the schools and with the cops and with the politicians. It's just unbelievable what's going on. But the first step to change anything, you got to talk about it. How ridiculous. A school teacher telling you can't come to school with an American flag on your bicycle. Well, man, my underwear's made in the United States, and the tag on the back's got an American flag. What are they going to do, tell me pull my drawers down next to make sure I ain't got an American flag on my underwear? This is crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. But I'll give credit to this guy, Gonzalez, and I hope the ACLU tears him up and gets him his job back with his back pay, because that's what he needs. And let me give you another true story here. This is a good one. My son's driving my van, and I get a red light ticket summons in the mail. And it says, it's got my tag number on it and a citation number. And a picture of the van when the red light supposedly caught him going through this red light. Well, I spent about 7 years riding a motorcycle in Baltimore City in the traffic division writing tickets, and I tell you what, I know the law when it comes to this kind of stuff. And in Maryland, I don't know about where you live, but anyway, pull up closer to this here radio and drink a coffee while I talk about this. Calm yourself down. Here's how we called it playing the red light, or playing a stop sign, or playing for speeders. Okay, here's how we played a red light. If there's no crosswalk and no stop line, you have to stop behind an imaginary line that goes from curb to curb. If there's a crosswalk, you have to stop behind the line furthest from the light. And if there's a stop line, you have to stop behind that line. Well, we would sit there and look at the light. When the light turned red, then we'd look for the car, and if it was close, benefit of the doubt goes to the citizen. But if you're behind that line, or where you're supposed to stop, you get a ticket, which means you were further back when the light turned red. Well, anyway, you don't sit behind the car. You sit on the side so you can see the light change and then see that line. And what do you think the city of Baltimore does? They got the red light camera behind your car. Behind your car. The worst place to put it. In front would be bad too, but the side is where it should be. Then there's no question about it. Well, I'm looking as I'm talking to you right now, friends, at the photograph. And the photograph shows that the van is into the intersection. And all you got to do is be an inch into that section, a half inch. And the law says in Maryland, it's probably your state too, that if your vehicle enters the intersection on a favorable light, that you have the right of way to get out of that intersection. And an example would be, you pull into the intersection to make a left-hand turn, there's too much traffic coming the other way, and you get caught in that intersection when the light turns green for the other traffic. Well, the other traffic, there's a car in the curb lane next to a bus, and he can't see me because, the bus is blocking. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, if you have an accident with that car in the green light, he's the one that's guilty because you entered that intersection when the light was favorable. You have the right of way to get out. So I called my son up. I says, do you remember the red light ticket? He said, I never learned the new red light. And I said, well, anyway, I got the picture here. It shows that you're not guilty anyway. Let's stand trial. So we send in the paperwork to stand trial. Then I get this warning letter in the mail. Warning notice. And I got to pay this $75 by February the 6th, 2011. Or my tags are going to be flagged. You don't want your tags flagged. Then police will be pulling you over for nothing, nitpicking you, driving you crazy. So I get on the phone with the woman from down the city, and man, I tell you what, it's like talking to idiots. And one thing led to another. I said, I want to talk to a supervisor. So they take my phone number, and I never get the call from the supervisor. So we're going to take a little break now, and the number up here is 410-848-9191, Liberty Works Radio Network. Drink a coffee while we're waiting. Hey, Pete Richter coming back to you again, Liberty Works Radio Network. Phone number, 410-848-9191. And if you call, my engineer is a pretty little girl named Miss Jane Doe. She don't give nobody her name. IRS, the police, the government, the military. She's Jane Doe. If you don't like it, lump it. But she'll be nice to you on the phone. She's a good girl. Well, anyway, let's get back to this story with this red light extortion. I mean, red light camera ticket. So anyway, I'm waiting for the supervisor to call. They don't call, so I call back again. I get a different lady on the phone, and they're telling me that I'm complaining about this threatening letter here, going to flag my tags, and they tell me that I got to put the money up first to get a trial date. They want the money first. I said that's unconstitutional. 14th Amendment protects me from that. One thing leads to another. Then they tell me that I can get on the internet and get a court date if I go to the internet and do it. So I do. And by the time we get done with all this, they're closed up there. So I'll get on the internet and request a court date. I got to put my tag number in there and the citation number. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, the next day I call up again. And this time I get a woman that knows what she's talking about, Miss Jackson. Real nice lady to talk to on the phone. I'm telling her, I said, I got on the internet and I requested a trial date. Then I got back on the internet to check on it, and it says that there's no record whatsoever of my tag number or this citation number that they're trying to get 75 hours out of me on. I says, well, I put it on the internet, and she says, let me check it out. She checked it all out and everything. She says, you're right, you got this ticket. She says, well, you don't have to send the money up first, and your court date will be in about 6 months. I said, 6 months? I could build a new house in less time than that. Well, they only have court for red light tickets with the cameras on Monday. So they must be jammed up. But it's all about the money, people. They want to get in your pocket. And this is how they get you. If you get a ticket from a camera, it's not a moving violation. It's like getting a parking ticket. It's your car, it's parked there, it's not a moving violation, you got to pay the fine. And that's what they do with these cameras. They don't know who's driving. And the burden of proof is on the accuser, not you to prove yourself innocent, that they're supposed to prove that you're guilty. Well, they don't know who's driving. So how are they going to get into your pockets if they got to prove who's driving? The answer is they can't, so they make it where the red light camera is not a moving violation. So therefore, $75. Can you lose a day's work for $75? A lot of people can't. So they're making a lot of $75 for people just paying the tickets. And even if they're innocent, they're going to pay the ticket because it's cheaper a lot of times. Well, let me give you another true story. My wife, I call her the redhead, but grandkids call her Grandma Barbara, was driving from Eastern Shore, Kent Island, where I live, to Ocean City every week about 5-6 years ago. Her mother was living down Ocean City and had borderline Alzheimer's at the time, so my wife was going down there quite often. So she gets off of Route 50 onto this Route 90, and she's in a line of traffic. She's in a line of traffic, and she's a grandmother. She's no hot rod, and she's driving with everybody else. And lo and behold, the state police pull her over and the woman in front of her and say that they're speeding. Well, they're not speeding, but he said you're speeding. Well, how can them two be speeding when they're in a line of traffic and it's, one lane in each direction? If they're speeding, everybody's speeding. Give everybody a ticket or don't give anybody a ticket. It's as simple as that. That's the way we did it in the day. So when she gets home, she shows me the ticket. And the state police must have been cross-eyed or something because he's got the other woman's vehicle information on Barbara's ticket. And my wife's information on the other woman's ticket. Well, that's an automatic not guilty. They got to have that information on that ticket, correct. So I said, send the paperwork in and we'll get a trial date. Well, you got to send the money in first. This is down Wicomico County in a little town called Berlin, Maryland. It sounds like Berlin, Nazi Berlin. They want your money first. 14th Amendment says you're entitled to due process and you're innocent until proven guilty. So anyway, the ticket is like $150. You got to send the $150 down there and wait for a trial date. So we send $150. First, I called down there. It's like talking to idiots. They just do what they want to do. They do what they want, no matter if it's right, wrong, or illegal. They do what they want. So we send this $150 down there. It takes like 3 or 4 months to go to court. So she shows up in court, not guilty. Well, now we want our money back. You got to go through all this rigmarole at the courthouse. They're going to send you the money. They're going to give it to me. Here I am. Give me my money. Well, they just can't give you the money. You got to wait. So we wait another 5 or 6 months to get our own money back. 5 or 6 months to get our own money back. So the state's got your money anywhere from 10 months to a year. It's $150. And this Ocean City is like a resort town in Maryland. And, you know, on the weekends, man, there's 250,000 people down in the Ocean City swimming and going boat riding and fishing and riding the rides and walking on the boardwalk, eating pizza pies and all. And I guarantee you they give a ton of tickets out. Well, here's the question. Who's getting the juice on that money? Juice is interest if you're on the street. Who's getting the juice on that money? And the answer is the state. Well, if the mafia did this, it's called extortion. The government does it, they think it's okay. This is like unbelievable. And people should rise up about this. And, you know, like I say, they do what they want. What if they decided, well, you want to stand trial instead of sending the fine in, it costs you $1,000. Well, you're not going to, what are you going to do? You're going to pay the $150 fine instead of putting $1,000 up. And in lovely, corrupt Queen Anne's County where I live, this is what the zoning people do. The zone, you talk about corruption, go to these zoning places. And I don't care where you live in the United States, these zoning people are all above the law. Well, in lovely, corrupt Queen Anne's County, if you want to appeal a zoning board's decision, you got to put $3,000 up. You got to put it up. You don't get it back if you lose. I don't know if you get it back if you win either, but if you you got to put this $3,000 up to appeal. So, you know, if it's some small matter, you're going to put $3,000 up? People don't have $3,000 to put up, but that's the game they're playing, so they don't get any appeals. It's just unbelievable what goes on. It just bewilders me that this stuff goes on. And here's a good one for you. Somebody emailed me this one. You want to be a sheriff in Albuquerque, New Mexico? Get on the eBay and take the sheriff's equipment and sell it on the eBay. And that's what the sheriff of Santa Fe County did. Sheriff Greg Solano was arrested on 251 counts of embezzlement and 1 count of fraud. Can you believe that? He's selling police equipment over the internet and keeping the money. Well, he had 8 years on the job, and how can this guy be in there for 8 years selling this stuff and nobody knows nothing? How can that be? Just like we don't know that the Egyptians are being abused by Jose Mubarak. You know, he's Jose, he's hosing us for $2.5 billion a year. That's who's getting hosed, the American taxpayer. But anyway, they locked this sheriff up. He spent 3 hours in jail and got out on $25,000 bond. And what makes these guys think they can do that? It just bewilders me to no end. It's just unbelievable. Well, anyway, the president of the United States was on television this week. And let me get my flat top guitar. And what did he say? Well, I don't know. It didn't say nothing as far as I was concerned. But one thing he did say that sparked in me, he talked about them miners down there in South America, the ones that were underground, which reminded me of a song written by a guy named Mel Travis. He also did 16 Tons, but he did this song, and you think you got a hard job? be a miner, especially in the old days. And kind of goes like this. Come all ye young fellers, so young and so fine, seek not your fortune in the dark dreary mine. It'll form a habit, seep in your soul, till the stream of your blood runs as black as the coal. Middle of day, 'tis the same to the miner who labors away, where the demons of death often come by surprise. One fall of the slate, you're buried alive, where it's dark as a dungeon and damp as the dew, where the dangers are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls, the sun never shines, it's dark as a dungeon down in the mine. Many a man I've known in my day who lived just to leave their whole life away, like a fiend with his dope, a drunkard his wine, a man will have lust for the lure of the mind. Well, I hope when I'm gone, the ages will roll, my body will blacken, turn into coal. Then I'll look from the door of my heavenly home, and I'll pity the miner digging my bones, where it's dark as a dungeon and damp as the dew, where the pleasures are double and the pleasures are few, where the rain never falls, the sun never shines, it's dark as a dungeon down in the mine. Imagine that job. You think it's hard working at McDonald's? Imagine them West Virginia coal miners and Kentucky coal miners years ago. They didn't have all that modern equipment and safety equipment. Dark as a dungeon way down in the mine. And redneck, man, what a proud name that is, the whole redneck. Who's the rednecks? That was them coal miners down there, West Virginia, Kentucky, that stood up to the government and the big shot coal company barons. And a reporter said that the miners, he called them rednecks because they had bandanas around their neck. And they fought these Pinkertons and the crooked politicians and the big shots with them red bandanas around their neck. And that's where that name redneck came from. A lot of people make fun of you if you got a southern accent to call you redneck. Well, damn it, I'd be proud to be a redneck. Let's take another break here. We'll get back and talk some more the other side of the badge. Pete Richter, 410-848-9191. Hey, Pete Richter, the old retired cop, coming back to you again. Liberty Works Radio Network, 410-848-9191. 410-848-9191. And it's unbelievable what's going on in this world today, but then again, no, it's not. It's always the same story over and over again. Just the names and the faces change, but the story remains the same, and it all depends on the people. And Egypt, I'm so proud of them people over there getting out there and going against this dictator that the United States was giving $2.5 billion a year in aid to. Unbelievable. But I guess that's the way that goes, and I wonder who's going to take over. Mubarak is trying to get his own people in there now, and the citizens are against that. They want him out, going goodbye, but we'll see who's going to go in there. Or shall we say, let's see who's going to put somebody in there. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Who are they going to put in there? And who is they? There's some people nobody talks about. They. When you can't mention their name, so you say they. Well, let's see who they put in there. And like I was telling you before with this red light ticket, how we played a red light. And a stop sign, you never played a stop sign where the citizen can look both ways and roll through it safely. People, if they can't see, they're going to stop. But if they can see, they might not stop. Well, that's not the stop sign to play. It's not going to hurt anybody. Picture the crossroads in that movie Old Brother, if you've seen that one. In the middle of nowhere is a crossroads. One of them streets has a stop sign. Well, you can see 10 miles in each direction. Do you give a guy a ticket for rolling through that? Of course not. You might pull him over, give him a little lecture on, why he should stop, but you wouldn't give a guy a ticket. Not today, but here's a good one with speed cameras in Maryland. They don't want you to drive fast through a school zone. Well, the best way to slow people down is put speed bumps up. They'll slow down. They're not going to wreck their car. So they got speed cameras now in certain counties at these schools. Well, normally the speed limit at a school zone is 25 miles an hour. Well, they're not going to give you the ticket till you're doing 12 over the limit. Well, 12 is what? 48% higher or so than the speed limit. So in a school zone where you want to be safe, they allow you to go basically 50% over the speed limit before you get a ticket. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that? And here's the way, when I was on a motorcycle in Baltimore City, we give you 15 miles over the limit. Now, I'm not talking about some little small alley street, in a neighborhood. I'm talking about, where most of the traffic goes. If the speed limit is 30, we didn't even pull you over unless you're doing 15 miles over the limit. And but when we pulled you over, you got a ticket. I'm not playing with you. You're doing 15 over. There's no question about this. And why 15 miles over the limit? That way the judge has got to find you guilty. So you go in there, and people don't understand this. Some people are immune to tickets. Some people are immune to tickets. Who are they? Off-duty cops, off-duty firemen, lawyers, judges, politicians, the pretty nurse, the good-looking woman. They're like immune to tickets. And when I say immune, this is kind of what I mean. If you give a guy a ticket for doing 10 over, the judge is saying, it's a lot easier for the judge to let him go. But 15 over in the city, there's no excuse for doing 15 over. Now, you get out on the highway and follow a Maryland State policeman down the road, you can do 20 over the limit because that's usually what he's doing. But these laws, they're like crazy. A lot of them. They're just so simple, it's pathetic. And here's one they're trying to pass in New York. New York City's attempting to get a law where you can't have your iPod on. That's like a modern jukebox. So you got your headphones on, this little thing in your pocket, you're listening to music, and they're trying to make it against the law to have this iPod on when you're jogging and for people crossing the street. So if this law gets passed, here's the question. How do they know the iPod was on? How about I got the earphones on and the iPod's turned off because I'm driving? And it's turned off because I'm crossing the street. How's the police going to know if you were listening to the music or not in the first place? And the answer is that's one step further, to confiscate your iPod and see what kind of music you're listening to or what. But how do they know? So, it's like crazy stuff. What do they need that for? And the answer is they can pull you over, stop you. You're listening to an iPod while you're jogging. Let me see your ID. And that's the way it'll go. And what people don't know is there's not enough probable cause to arrest you in the first place. You don't have to show the police your ID. This isn't Nazi Germany. Now, there's times when you have to, like if you're driving a car, you're in the military, and a few other things. You know, you got to have ID. But the average person jogging with his iPod on, or walking across the street with his iPod earphones on, don't have to show ID. There's what, you know, number one, they don't know if the iPod's on or not. It's just one more step towards taking our freedom from us. And I don't want to see this country doing what Egypt's doing right now, because some people are going to have a hard way to go when this is all over with. I remember the riots of '68. Finally, when it was over with, it was like the calm after that terrible thunderstorm in the summer. Just feels different. All the grocery stores were burnt out. All the little confectionery stores were burnt out. The cleaners, the bars, the restaurants, burnt out. Now these people had nowhere. The good people, I'm not talking about the hoodlums, the jitterbugs, but the good working people up there in the ghetto had to get in their cars and drive out to Baltimore County or the outskirts of the city where the looters didn't go, you know, to get their milk and eggs and bread. And that city never bounced back, and it's going to take a long time for Egypt to bounce back, but I think that they're going to bounce back towards democracy as long as they put the right person in there. And I hope they turns out to be the people in Egypt, and not some big company, you know, that or some big shot banker. We need the people to put the politicians in. And somebody emailed me this one. Listen to this. On-duty cop rapes woman. She says, pleads sentence down to 1 year. Here's a cop on duty, rapes a woman. Rapes her, gets 1 year in jail. He could have got about 20 in there, and they plea bargained it down. It happened in Texas, and I'm looking at this over here. I'll get you his name if I see it on here, and I don't see it. But can you believe that? He rapes a woman while he's working, and plea bargains down to 1 year. They got to get rid of this plea bargaining crap. You can't do that. Plea bargain. Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable that these state's attorneys are allowed to plea bargain. You know, the plea bargain. Unbelievable. And it just opens up the door for corruption. You know, the state's attorneys gets the idea where he's above the law, and they don't like that in Queen Anne's County. I told the story how the deputy state's attorney got a ticket for going 22 miles over the speed limit in Eastern Maryland by the state police. So I got on the internet and announced it, and got on a couple talk shows and announced it. And when I knew the fix was going to be in, I also announced how it was going to go down. And it went down exactly like I said. They're going to change judges so it don't look like it's a friendly judge up there. Then they're going to change the trial date and not tell the trooper. So the trooper don't show up in court, not guilty. Now, how did I know that? Well, wonder how I knew it, because there's the other side of that badge. And if it's one of us get a ticket like that and the police don't show up, the judge will liable to find you guilty anyway. They'll ask you if you want to plead guilty when he already knows that you know, that you have the right to face your accuser. If he's not there, the burden of proof's on him, and you're entitled to a quick and speedy trial, that you're supposed to be let go. And they don't do that for us, but they did it for the state's attorney. Well, anyway, that's the way that goes. Here's another one here. You'll love this one too. 7-year-old cited in ball throwing incident. Kid's playing ball, he's 7 years old, and the ball hits the police car. So the big bad policeman cites this kid. Cody Chappelli is his name. He wanted the boy's mother to discipline him, so he give his kid a criminal citation. And, you know, for the ball hitting the police car, no damage. No damage whatsoever. Unbelievable. I can see in the old days Giving a kid a ticket like that. I can see that happening, right? Them sergeants would have said, "What are you, out of your mind? What are you smoking? We might have to give you the breathalyzer as a 7-year-old kid." The ball hit the car. Make a friend out of that kid. Make a friend out of that kid. Kids like police that are nice to them. You don't give them citations because the ball hit the police car. That's unbelievable. And they've a lot of talk this over the past couple of days about the police getting killed in this country. Well, there's a lot of police get killed, and a lot of them get killed in automobile accidents. We had one up here in Baltimore. 71 miles an hour he's driving in the city, no seatbelt on, and crashes into the back of a parked city fire engine that's on a call. He got killed. So that's a terrible way to go, but 71 miles an hour, where was he going? Then we had another shooting in Baltimore where the police shot 41 shots, killing the undercover policeman who just killed a guy he was arguing with outside of a nightclub. The civilian that got killed was a good kid, no record, athlete in high school, just all around good kid. Undercover cop shoots him during a fight, and the troops roll up and shoot 41 shots at the policeman. Now, he's in plain clothes, but you don't shoot first and ask questions later. If you're the police, you got to say, "Don't move. Stop first." Not shoot 41 shots and 26 bullets in this policeman's body. It's just unbelievable. 46 shots in that policeman's body. And that's national news now. So let me get my flat top guitar one more time. And can we figure this story out? Can we figure life out? Well, this old gospel song kind of tells it. Tempted and tried, oft made to wonder why it should be thus all the day long, while there are others living about us, never molested, though in the wrong. Father alone will all about it. Father alone will understand why. Cheer up, my brothers, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. When we see Jesus coming in glory, when he comes down from his home in the sky, then shall we meet him in that bright mansion. We'll understand it all by and by. Father alone will know all about it. Father alone will understand why. Cheer up, my brothers, live in the sunshine. We'll understand it all by and by. So that's a couple more verses of that song, but we're running out of time up here. So tune in next week. Bring your coffee, bring your sodas, and bring your popcorn, and let's start taking this country back. The Constitution's the law, end the story, and if that's politically incorrect, too bad. Pete Richter signing off.